How's it going, everyone? I've seen a couple of you guys pointed out in the comment section, and it seems like some of you guys are just fishing for me to rage. Just a couple of you in the comments from what I've seen, but it's something that I wanted to talk about for a while, and I had talked about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League quite a bit leading up to its release, and I think most people were abundantly aware that they had to be exceedingly cautious of this game, exceedingly skeptical because of the direction it was taking for a myriad of reasons, and I'll get into that in a little bit, but let's talk the news that has circulated quite a bit, and that is the fact that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League's 5th season will likely be its last. If you're unfamiliar with it, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is very much a live service title that has the seasonal format where new seasons drop. You've got content coming out with every season, although the content rollout for those seasons, most would say, I think, have been a little bit lukewarm. I don't know, is that a little bit of a stretch? You guys be the decider of that. Reputable insider Miller Ross noted on Twitter, Season 4 of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is currently slated to commence in January of 2025. This season also brings Deathstroke into the fray as a new playable character who is of two minds about rescuing the man who humiliated him in 2015's Arkham Knight. This storyline concludes in the game's 5th season when the reassembled Justice League join forces with the ARGUS to end Brainiac's multiversal reign of terror. Sources tell me that this will likely serve as the game's finale, with the recent Season 1 doing a little to reignite sales. Oh, am I all that surprised about that? Now, if you guys don't know, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League as a part of the PlayStation Store spring sale is actually heavily discounted. Remember, this was a $70 game release, $100 if you wanted to buy the Digital Deluxe Edition. On top of that, the Digital Deluxe Edition did come with the Early Access gimmick, which I am not a big fan of, as you guys may have known from several of my other videos, but that Early Access didn't work all too well, and it came with a redeemable token for one of the battle passes. So with all that being said, it was a $70 game with a $100 deluxe edition, and it was adopting a live service model. But circling back to the PlayStation Store sale, it is heavily discounted right now. Now, bear in mind, it hasn't been 3 months since the game dropped. It dropped at the end of January. Is it 20% off? No. 30% off? No. 40% off? No. It is 50% off. So the base game was $70. It is on sale for $35 right now. Think about the games that hold up in price, and generally speaking, top-level games, high-quality games, do hold up in price. Unless, and very much, I don't know if we want to call Ubisoft games top level, but Ubisoft titles, especially the live servicey ones, go on sale very, very quickly. It makes sense as far as these styles of games going on sale very quickly, because the idea is they get your foot in the door and then they can monetize those sales after the fact on top of the initial revenue that they generated. So they're selling you Suicide Squad for $35. Make no bones about it, their ultimate goal is to get $350 out of you. That would be the ultimate goal that they would have had prior to the game releasing. That's why live service has become such an attractive option, or at least the idea, because that's all it is for most of these publishers. It's an idea, that gravy train that they are so desperately chasing for. They are chasing it like chasing the dragon, so to speak, the proverbial dragon that they're trying to slay, because once you get that gravy train going, oh boy, can it get delicious, because we've seen games that are monetized beyond the initial purchase, and they can do very well, and we've seen free-to-play games monetized, and they can make money hand over fist. But let's be real, not every game is made to be that way, and it's very much a case of Rocksteady shifting from what made Rocksteady, well, Rocksteady. And you can tell me that Rocksteady is a shell of their former selves. Yes, a lot of those developers have left the studio. They've created their own studio. I believe it's called 100 Star Games. Don't quote me on that, but they do have a new studio that they've created, but it's still Rocksteady in name. And guess what? Suicide Squad was promoted on the basis. This was legitimately in the advertising material from the creators of Batman Arkham. So guess what? If you're promoting the game as from the creators of Batman Arkham, I'm going to expect that the essence of Rocksteady, the creators of Batman Arkham, will remain in the game. And that is just not the case. With Suicide Squad, that has been completely eliminated. That has been ripped out, stomped down, and it does not exist. What Suicide Squad is Can it be a fun, nonsensical action open world title? Yeah, absolutely. There is some fun that I feel like you can have with Suicide Squad. There is some fun that you can have if you spend $3.99 for it. A game that I would compare it to is, let's say, an Agents of Mayhem. Agents of Mayhem is a low-key title that I say, go pick that up if you want some mindless fun, but don't be paying anything more than $3.99 for that game. I feel the exact same way about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and guess what? Rocksteady should never have been in the business of creating games that I personally value at $3.99, because I spend $60 on Batman Arkham Asylum, I spend $60 on Batman Arkham City, I spend $60 on Batman Arkham Knight. Rocksteady is a studio that, in my heart of hearts, and I think everybody agrees, that they should be able to create an incredibly compelling game that we would be happy to spend $60, even $70 on with the new age of pricing. But the essence of Rocksteady is not there in Suicide Squad. It just isn't. And this is a game that was clearly created and tossed together to be a long-term monetized live service experience. And how has this turned out for you? It's turned out for you in a way that myself, and let's be honest, you guys, I'm not a rocket scientist, but I can use my single-digit IQ, and I can realize that the live service model, just thrown together in every single game imaginable, is not going to fly. People are not going to be invested in every game that comes out for a lengthy period of time. That's just unfathomable. And that's not realistic for these games, but you decided to shift away from what made Rocksteady Rocksteady, and you went with this gimmicky route. Fine, it doesn't stop there. The nonsense doesn't stop there. Why is a game like this online only? And I bring this up because while it might not be a big deal to you guys always have an online connection, whatever the case may be, there's no reason for this game to be online only. Not only that, you lose internet connection for whatever reason, and by the way, there was an update that was released for Suicide Squad while I was playing the game that was knocking myself and many others, you can look this up online, off the internet, and you were losing progress as you were playing the game. I played Suicide Squad a little after launch, so my bad that I didn't decide to spend $100 on the game. But I figured I have this goal of playing every major release that comes out this year. I should still play Suicide Squad, so I'm well aware of what I'm talking about. And in the case, I kept getting booted out of this game, losing all my progress. I'm playing Suicide Squad solo, you guys. There's no reason for online connectivity to be a thing unless you want me to be online so you can throw some monetizable elements, so you can throw some ads at me. I can understand that. If you're really desperate to monetize these games to the nth degree, you gotta take any avenue you can. You gotta cut any corner that you can make sure that they're slapped across the face, or at the very least, I'm a candidate for potentially spending more money on this game, because that's what it feels like to me. Now, I know Rocksteady, the plan is to add an offline component to this game, but really, it should have been available at launch. And I'll circle back to this point that I've made in previous videos as well, because this is an absolute depressing stat and should give us a clear picture of Rocksteady today. And again, it's a studio that's been gutted, but from the period of 2009, August of 2009 until June of 2015, Rocksteady had released Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham City, and Batman Arkham Knight, one of the greatest trilogies in video game history. I know the rhetoric of greatest superhero video game trilogy is out there a lot, but what other really great superhero video game trilogy is there? So I'm comfortable in saying that Batman Arkham is one of the greatest video game trilogies of all time. No disrespect to Batman Arkham Origins by WB Montreal, but Rocksteady's Arkham trilogy, I think, is one of the greatest trilogies of all time. They released all three of those games in the span of 6 years. After the release of Arkham Knight, we got some DLC get released. But their next major title, what was the turnaround for that game? It was Suicide Squad. It was 9 years. 1.5x the amount of time that it took for the entire Batman Arkham trilogy to come out. And I get it that game dev times have gotten longer and longer, but still, that should give you an idea. You got the entire Batman Arkham trilogy in the span of 6 years. 9 years after Arkham Knight, we finally get Suicide Squad. I hate to say it, but there are some times that some of these studios are just absolutely washed, and gaming is very much a what have you done for me lately kind of business, and Rocksteady is absolutely washed. Now, they're also a gutted studio where a lot of the people left. I get that, but Rocksteady, throw them among the category and the group of absolutely washed studios, because that's really all you can say about them. And there are other studios that fit this category, and obviously, it's super depressing to me. I wouldn't care about this topic that much if I didn't have an affinity, an attachment towards Rocksteady, because I lived it. I remember leading into the release of Batman Arkham Asylum being a wee lad and thinking, haha, another superhero game, probably gonna be trash. And then Arkham Asylum came out and I was blown away by it, and I wasn't even a big Batman guy. I had no care in the world for Batman, but I loved Arkham Asylum, loved Arkham City. loved Arkham Knight, and what do I get 9 years later? This pile of trash that's known as Suicide Squad. Not only that, and let me add this, I hope that Warner Brothers, David Zaslav, whoever's the shot callers and making the decisions as far as these things are concerned, can assess Suicide Squad and think that, hey, maybe the live service gimmick isn't something we should completely put all our eggs into, a basket we should put all our eggs into. But based on some of the statements made by one David Zaslav, the fact that they see video games in this live service model, the fact that they want to monetize games beyond that initial $60, $70 purchase, I do not believe that one bit. What I do believe is go back to early 22, another Warner Brothers published title came out called Hogwarts Legacy. That game crushed it from a commercial and sales standpoint. At this point, last number I saw was 22 million copies sold. An outstanding, outrageous success. Even if it's piggybacking one of the most popular IPs on planet Earth, 22 million copies sold is absolutely staggering. That game did not have any in-game microtransactions or anything like that. It did have a digital deluxe edition that offered 3 days of early access. Not a big fan of that, as you guys probably know at this point, as I say it over and over again, but for the most part, Hogwarts Legacy wasn't a game that was monetized to the nth degree. I personally believe, and I don't know this for a fact, but based on Warner Brothers' direction, I don't think they're thinking, hey, Suicide Squad flopped, maybe we should change direction. What I think they are rather thinking is they are salivating at the thought of 22 million people bought Hogwarts Legacy. We have 22 million potential customers for a Hogwarts Legacy 2 that you know will at some point come out. Are they thinking that, hey, maybe we should stick to the formula that made Hogwarts Legacy 1 so successful? I don't know. I really hope they are, but what I think is more likely is that they are planning and thinking about ways to monetize Hogwarts Legacy 2 so they can think of, we can sell 22 million copies of this game easily for $70, but what if we also monetize this game? What if we lock content away? What if we think strategically about how we can get the consumer to spend even more money post-release? Potentially have XP boosters, potentially do everything that Ubisoft is doing with their single-player games, narrative-based season passes for $40, so on and so forth. That idea, I would have to imagine, based on what they've done with Suicide Squad, has to go through their head that if we could sell 22 million copies, imagine we could get 10 million of those 22 million people to spend another $50 on their already $70 purchase. That's what I would think that they would be thinking. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I hope I am, but WB is one of those publishers that I feel like we need to have a bit of a microscope on, because I could see, based on some of their statements, based on how Suicide Squad has turned out, they could be doing some wild live service gimmicky stuff, and I wouldn't put it past them whatsoever. But for now, what I do know is Suicide Squad, even if it doesn't shut down after Season 5, has been one of those games that has been a statement of, wow, this studio, 9 years since their last release, but their last release in Arkham Knight was pretty damn good. 9 years later, we get a game that is a complete fall off, and I think a lot of that reasoning is for the shift in the style of game and the model that the game is employing. But let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Obviously, always interested to hear from you guys, and I tried to stay a little bit more level-headed, maybe not rage as much, because these things are becoming a little bit more commonplace, but, you know, obviously, I'm still gonna get upset about it, especially when it's coming from a studio that late 2000s, 2010s, they could do no wrong, but now, 2024, all these years later, Rocksteady, there's not really a lot of reason to be excited about Rocksteady anymore. And I remember those years after Arkham Knight where people were speculating on what Rocksteady could be working on, what direction could they go, and all these years later, this is what we're left with, and that's a tad bit depressing, to say the least. That's gonna do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.